For the number.
Hello? What's up? I just want to tell you something.
Angrily, "Are you blind? Do you want to mess up my dress? You think because you're poor, everyone should pity you?" Philip sighed deeply. "Madam, I said I'm sorry. It won't happen again." "Just do your job and go," she snapped. "You people are lucky we even allow you into this estate. Next time come on time, or I will report you to your manager." He nodded quietly. "Yes, Ma, thank you." When he finished, Sandra didn't even say thank you. She was still on her phone gossiping. Philip looked at her one last time, memorizing her words, her attitude, and her pride. He had seen enough. He climbed into the garbage truck, started the engine, and drove away slowly, shaking his head. As he drove through the busy road, memories of his late wife came back. He remembered how she always told him, "Philip, don't let money blind our children. Let them marry people with clean hearts, not just clean faces." He now understood what she meant. If Michael married Sandra, their home would be full of trouble. He sighed again and said quietly to himself, "So this is the woman my son has been talking about. This is the one he calls humble and kind. God help us." Back in her house, Sandra finished her call and stepped into her car, not knowing the man she had just insulted was her future father-in-law. She was proud and satisfied with herself, even bragging to her friend that she had scolded a lazy driver. She said she could never tolerate poor people. "They make me sick," she said. "When I marry Michael, I'll make sure none of those dirty people come near my house." Meanwhile, Philip drove straight to one of his company branches. When he arrived, his staff looked shocked to see him in a garbage uniform. "Sir, what happened? Why are you dressed like that?" one asked Philip. Only smiled and said, "Just testing something." He went into his office and sat down quietly. His heart was heavy. "So much arrogance in such a young woman," he murmured, "and my son believes she's perfect." He picked up his phone and called his personal assistant. "Meet me in the mansion this evening," he said. "We have a lot to discuss." That evening, in his large mansion, he wore his fine robe and sat alone in his study, thinking deeply. His butler entered quietly and said, "Sir, dinner is ready." But Philip shook his head. He had lost his appetite. His mind was on his son. "How do I tell him that the woman he loves is not who he thinks she is?" he whispered to himself. He thought of Michael's happy face whenever he spoke about Sandra. He couldn't bear to break his heart, but he also couldn't let him marry a disrespectful woman. After a long silence, he made up his mind. He would first observe her again before revealing the truth. Maybe she would redeem herself somehow. Maybe today was just a bad day. He wanted to be sure before making a decision that could change his son's life forever. A few minutes later, his personal assistant, Mr. James, arrived. He knocked softly and entered with a respectful bow. "Good evening, sir," James greeted. "Sit," Philip said, his voice calm but firm. "I have something important to tell you." James sat down carefully, instantly noticing the change in his boss's mood. "Sir, you don't look yourself. What happened?" Philip looked up slowly. "James, I met my son's girlfriend today, but she didn't know who I was. I disguised myself as a garbage driver." James blinked in surprise. "You actually went in costume?" "Yes," Philip replied. "I needed to test her humility. I wanted to see her real character." James adjusted himself, preparing for the truth. "And what did you see, sir?" Philip leaned forward, his face full of disappointment. "She insulted me from the moment she came outside. She complained I was late. She refused to listen when I explained there was traffic. She mocked my clothes. She called poor people lazy and useless. She spoke to me as if I wasn't human." James' mouth fell open slightly. "That is terrible, sir." "She had no patience, no kindness, no respect," Philip continued. "She didn't know she was talking to the father of the man she claims to love." He stood up slowly. All these years, James. One thing I swore was that my son would never marry a disrespectful woman. My late wife suffered humiliation once from a girl who thought she was a maid. I cannot go through that again. James nodded sympathetically. I understand, sir. And the most painful part, Philip added, is that Michael believes Sandra is the most humble woman he has ever met. James sighed. Love can blind even the wisest men, sir. Philip stopped pacing and looked at him. Exactly. That's why I need your help. I want you to dig into her background. Everything. Her family, her true behavior, her past. I need to know who she really is. James bowed his head. I will start immediately, sir. Good, Philip said quietly, because I need to protect my son. I cannot allow him to marry someone who despises the poor. James stood up gently. You have made the right decision, sir. I will bring the report tomorrow. Philip nodded, but his eyes were filled with worry. Thank you, James. After James left, Philip sat back down slowly. Michael stepped in with excitement glowing on his face. Dad, I've been looking everywhere for you, he said happily. Philip straightened his posture, trying to hide his troubled emotions. Good evening, Michael. What's the good news? Michael sat down across from him. I just spoke to Sandra. She wants to meet you, Dad. She said she's nervous but excited. She has been preparing for weeks. Philip blinked slowly. She wants to meet me. Yes, Michael said proudly. I told her you're strict but fair. She said she wants to impress you. Philip gave a gentle, forced smile. I see. So, Michael leaned forward. Can she come for dinner tomorrow? Philip stared at his son's hopeful face. It hurt him. Michael truly loved this woman. He had no idea she had insulted his father that same morning. After a moment of silence, Philip nodded slowly. Let her come. Michael was excited. Thank you, Dad. I know you'll love her. She's amazing. The next morning, the mansion was calm and quiet. Philip barely slept during the night. His mind had been too heavy with thoughts about Sandra and how to handle the situation. He needed more time before meeting her face to face. He needed James's investigation report first. He needed clarity. Philip walked downstairs and found his son, Michael, sitting at the dining table eating breakfast with a bright smile on his face. He looked excited, clearly still thinking about introducing his girlfriend to his father. Good morning, Dad, Michael greeted happily. Philip smiled faintly. Good morning, son. You're ready for today? Michael asked cheerfully. Sandra already picked a dress. She said she wants to make a good impression. She's even practicing how to greet you. Philip sat down slowly, took a deep breath, and spoke in a calm but serious voice. Michael, I need to talk to you. Michael paused, noticing his father's tone. Is everything all right? Philip nodded gently. Yes, but something unexpected happened. I just received a call this morning. Michael frowned slightly. From who? From a very close friend, Philip replied. He has been rushed to the hospital. It's quite serious. I need to go and see him immediately. Michael's expression changed. Oh no, is he going to be okay? I don't know yet, Philip said softly. But I cannot stay home today. I must go. He's like a brother to me. Michael was so disappointed, but he understood his father. I see. Dad, I'm really sorry. I know you were supposed to meet Sandra today. Yes, Philip said, choosing his words carefully. But I can't see her today anymore. You will have to cancel the dinner. Once I return and things are settled, I will let you both know when I'm available. Michael nodded. All right, Dad, I understand. Family comes first. I'll tell Sandra. Philip sighed. Thank you for understanding. I appreciate your maturity. Michael forced a small smile, but inside he felt sad. He had been looking forward to this day for weeks. He wanted his father to meet the woman he loved. He believed they would get along perfectly. He even imagined both of them laughing at the dining table. But now everything had changed. Philip stood up slowly. I'll leave in a few minutes. Take care of things while I'm gone. Of course, Dad, Michael said quietly. As Philip walked away, he heard his son sigh behind him. That sigh broke his heart a little. He didn't want to lie to Michael, but he had no choice. The truth needed to come out properly, and at the right time. The car drove away from the mansion, leaving Michael behind in the dining room, staring at his untouched food. He picked up his phone slowly and dialed Sandra. She answered excitedly, "Baby, are we still on for today? I'm almost dressed." Michael sighed. "Sandra, something came up. My dad just got a call. His close friend is in the hospital. He won't be able to meet you today." There was a short pause. Then Sandra's voice came, sounding irritated. "What? Oh, please, is that a joke? I already prepared." Michael frowned slightly. "Sandra, it's serious. Someone is sick," she hissed softly. "Fine, whatever. Just let me know when he's ready. I don't like wasting my time." Michael blinked. He didn't like the tone she used, but he didn't want to argue. "I'll call you later." After the call ended, he sat back, feeling uneasy. Something about her reaction bothered him, but he pushed it aside. 2 days later, James walked into Philip's private office carrying a brown file. He looked serious, more serious than usual. Philip immediately sensed that what he was about to hear would not be pleasant. James bowed. "Sir, I have some of the information you requested." Philip sat up straight. "Good. Sit and tell me everything." James sat gently and opened the file. "Sir, your son's wife-to-be is not who she claims to be." Philip narrowed his eyes. "Explain." James cleared his throat. "Sandra is not from a wealthy family, as she told your son." Philip blinked slowly. "Not from a wealthy family?" "No, sir," James continued. "Her family is actually struggling. Her father is a retired mechanic living in a small rented apartment. Her mother sells small provisions in front of their house. Everything Sandra told your son about coming from a rich background was a lie." Philip's heart dropped. He leaned back slowly, confused. Why would she lie about such a thing? Being poor is not a sin. I was once poor myself. "Yes, sir," James nodded, "but she has created a false identity for herself. She tells people her family is wealthy because she wants to attract rich men." Philip shook his head in disbelief, but Michael would never judge her for being poor. He's not that kind of boy. He's humble. He wouldn't care. James sighed. "Exactly, sir. Which makes the lie even more troubling. She lied without any reason." Philip rubbed his chin slowly. "What about the apartment she claims to own?" James sighed. "It's rented, sir. She doesn't own it." Philip frowned. "Rented? But she told Michael her father bought it for her." James shook his head. "Lie, sir. The apartment was rented just 6 months ago, and the rent was paid by a cousin of hers, an older cousin who works in real estate. The cousin's name is on the contract, not hers." Philip's eyes widened in shock. "So even the house is fake?" James nodded again. "Yes, sir, and the car she drives, the white Lexus she posted on social media." Philip leaned forward. "What about it?" "It doesn't belong to her," James said calmly. "It belongs to the same cousin. She only uses it because he traveled out of the country for a while." Philip's mouth opened slightly. "She told Michael her father bought that car for her birthday." "Yes, sir," James said gently. "Another lie." Philip was disappointed. He whispered, "Why would she lie to my son? Why pretend to be rich when it is not a crime to be poor? I remember the days I swept streets just to feed myself. My wife came from a simple home. There is nothing wrong with being poor." He turned, his face filled with confusion. "If she had simply told the truth, my son would still love her. Michael is not a shallow boy. He has a good heart." James lowered his eyes. "Sir, that is the problem. She doesn't trust her real self to be enough. She believes only wealth can make people value her. Philip frowned. So she planned to deceive my son into marriage, using a fake life. James cleared his throat softly. Sir, there is more, but we are still working on it. We haven't finished collecting all the details yet. Philip turned sharply. There is more? Yes, sir, James replied carefully, but please, take this information for now. Let us finish the investigation before we overwhelm you. Philip inhaled deeply. More lies, more secrets. That girl is building her relationship on falsehood. James nodded slowly. Yes, sir, and if Michael finds out after marriage, the pain will be unbearable. Philip's voice softened. He loves her too much. He is blind, and she is taking advantage of that. James closed the file. Sir, should we continue the background check? Philip didn't hesitate. Yes. Finish everything. I want to know the whole truth before I confront her. I don't want assumptions. I want facts. James bowed. Consider it done, sir. After he left, Philip remained seated, staring at the wall. He felt betrayed, not because Sandra was poor, but because she was dishonest. Dishonesty was something he could never tolerate. He whispered to himself, she lied about her house, her car, her background. What else is she hiding? He knew he needed to protect his son, but he also needed to gather every piece of information first before making the final decision. He leaned back in his chair and sighed deeply. This will not end well, but the truth must come out. The next day, after a long night of thinking, Philip made a decision that even surprised himself. He had already seen Sandra insult him as a garbage man. Now he wanted to see how she behaved toward someone society considered even lower, a starving beggar. He wanted to know if her wickedness was a habit, not a moment of anger. He wanted to be absolutely sure before telling his son the truth. So early in the morning, he put on dirty, torn clothes. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he almost didn't recognize his reflection. He looked older, the perfect image of a helpless beggar. He sighed and whispered, if she truly has a good heart, she will show mercy. If not, I will see her darkness again today. Philip walked slowly to Sandra's compound gate. Sandra was outside, standing near her car and talking loudly on the phone. Philip walked toward her gently and bowed. Good morning, Ma. Please, can you help me with a little food or small money to eat? I haven't eaten in 3 days. Please, Ma. Sandra looked at him with disgust, like he was something dirty on the ground. Are you blind? Can't you see I'm busy? Move away from my front. Philip bowed again. Ma, please. Even leftover food. Anything. I am very hungry. She hissed loudly. Leftover food. Why would I give my food to someone like you? Go away, old man. Don't come near my house. Philip gently raised his bowl. Please, Ma. I am begging you. Just small help. I won't disturb you again. Sandra's face twisted in anger. I said leave. Why do poor people behave like this? You can't see someone is doing something, yet you want to beg. Go and find work. Lazy people everywhere. Philip lowered his head and stepped back slowly, but he tried one last time because he wanted to see the depth of her heart. Ma, please don't be angry. I am old. I have no strength for work again. Please, if you have anything, small bread, small rice. Sandra cut him off with a sharp voice. I said I don't care. What is my business if you haven't eaten? Is it my fault? Did I send you not to work? You people just like begging up and down. Useless poor man. Philip felt a pain in his chest, not because she insulted him, but because her heart was colder than he thought. He whispered softly, God bless you, Ma. I am sorry for disturbing you. Sandra frowned. If you like, come here tomorrow. I will call the security to chase you away. Don't ever come near my house again. Poor people make me sick. She entered her car and drove off angrily. Philip stood there quietly, watching her car disappear. His heart was heavy, but at least now he knew the truth without doubt. There was no kindness in her. There was no compassion, no good heart. It wasn't stress. It wasn't a bad day. It was simply who she was. He whispered sadly, "So this is the woman my son wants to marry. A woman who mocks the poor. A woman with no mercy." Philip reached home tired and heartbroken after everything he saw and heard. He couldn't hide the truth anymore. His son needed to know everything. A few minutes later, Michael entered the room happily, unaware of the storm waiting for him. "Dad, you're back early," he said, smiling. Philip didn't smile back. His expression was serious, almost painful. "Sit down, Michael," he said quietly. Michael frowned. "Dad, what's wrong?" Philip looked him straight in the eyes. "Son, we need to talk about Sandra." Immediately, Michael's face brightened. "Dad, please don't worry. She said she understands about the cancelled dinner. She's still excited to meet you. She even—" Philip raised his hand. Michael asked, "Stop. This is serious." Michael slowly sat. His heartbeat increased. Philip inhaled deeply and began. "I know everything about Sandra more than you think. I know her background. I know where she comes from. I know the truth behind her house, her car, her family, and her character." Michael shook his head, confused. "Dad, what are you saying?" Philip continued with a heavy voice. "I hired someone to investigate her." Michael gasped. "Dad, why would you do that?" Philip didn't stop. "Because I needed to protect you from making the biggest mistake of your life." "But Dad, let me finish," Philip said firmly. 2 days ago, I disguised myself as a garbage driver. I went to her house. She insulted me terribly. She spoke about poor people like they are animals. Yesterday, I went again as a beggar. I asked her for small food. She insulted me again, this time worse. She told me to leave her gate. She said poor people disgust her. She showed no kindness, no compassion, nothing. Michael's mouth fell open in shock, but anger quickly replaced the shock. "Dad, you what?" Philip nodded slowly. "I did it, and I don't regret it." Michael stood up angrily. "Dad, how could you do that? How could you go that low? Dressing like a garbage man, a beggar. Why? Why would you test her like that? That is wrong. That is manipulation." Philip's heart tightened. "Son, no, Dad," Michael said louder. "You invaded her privacy. You embarrassed yourself. Sandra is a nice person. Everyone has their bad side. Even you. Even me." Philip inhaled painfully. "Michael, you didn't see the way she talked to me. The hatred, the pride, the cruelty. She didn't know me. She didn't know I was your father. That was her true self." Michael shook his head aggressively. "No, Dad, you're wrong. Sandra is a good woman. I know her. You don't. You tested her in a situation she wasn't ready for. You tricked her. That is unfair." "Michael, I don't care what she said to a stranger," Michael shouted. "I care about how she treats me. She loves me. I love her. And that is what matters." Philip felt a sharp pain in his chest. "Son, please listen. She lied to you. She lied about her background. She lied about her house. She lied about everything." "Dad," Michael shouted. "So what? So what? People lie when they are scared. Maybe she didn't want me to judge her. Maybe she didn't trust herself enough. Nobody is perfect." Philip looked at him with sadness. "But deceit cannot build a marriage, son." Michael's chest rose and fell quickly. He pointed at his father with trembling fingers. "Well, guess what, Dad? I don't care about what you think anymore. In fact, I have something to tell you." Philip looked up slowly. "What?" Michael swallowed and said in a shaking voice, "I already proposed to Sandra." Philip froze. "You... what?" "She accepted," Michael said proudly. "We are getting married, whether you approve or not." Philip's breath left his lungs. "Michael." "And you must give us your blessing," Michael insisted. "You are my father. I love you. But I will not let you destroy my happiness because of some test you created." Philip stood slowly, his voice heavy. Son, you are making a mistake. Michael shook his head. No, Dad. You are the one making a mistake. Sandra is my world. I choose her, and I'm not changing my mind. Philip stared at his only son, the boy he raised with love, wisdom, sacrifice, now fully blinded by love. Michael's voice softened but was firm. Dad, I love you. But I love her too, and she will be my wife. Philip whispered painfully, What have you done, Michael? Michael turned away. The right thing. And he walked out, leaving Philip standing alone, staring at the empty doorway with a broken heart. A month after Michael and Sandra got married, the real trouble began. One hot afternoon, Michael returned home from work earlier than usual. As he entered the mansion, he immediately noticed something was wrong. The house was silent. No one came to collect his briefcase. No one offered him water. No one greeted him with, Welcome, sir. He walked to the kitchen empty. Everywhere felt cold and abandoned. He frowned and called loudly, Sandra, Sandra, where is everybody? Sandra came down the stairs wearing a silk robe, acting very relaxed. She poured herself juice and sat on the couch without any concern. Michael stared at her. Sandra, where are the staff? Why is the house empty? Sandra didn't even look up. She said casually, Oh, I sacked all of them. Michael froze. You did what? I sacked them, she repeated proudly, every single one of them. They were too poor, too dirty, too slow. I don't like seeing poor people around me. They irritate me. Michael was shocked, confused, and angry at the same time. Sandra, those people have been working for my family for years. They are my employees. You don't make decisions without me. Sandra shrugged. They were useless. I don't want them in my house. Michael walked toward her angrily. Sandra, how could you do that? They were loyal. They served us well, and you didn't even discuss it with me. Sandra swallowed, suddenly realizing he was truly angry. She tried to look sweet. Baby, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I thought I was helping. I just want the house clean and comfortable for us. Michael shook his head. You made a big mistake. Now we have no cook, no cleaner, no gardener, nobody. We need to hire new staff immediately. Sandra frowned. Why? I can handle everything. I don't need poor people disturbing my peace. Michael stared at her in disbelief. Sandra, this is a huge house. You cannot handle everything alone. She forced a smile. I can, baby. I promise. Michael didn't want to argue anymore. He was tired and stressed. He just walked upstairs quietly. Sandra watched him go and hissed. In her heart, she believed she had done nothing wrong. She believed the house staff were below her. She believed firing them made her look powerful. But the next day proved her wrong. The next day, Michael came home tired and hungry. He dropped his bag and called out, Sandra, I'm home. No answer. He went to the kitchen. Nothing. No food. His stomach burned with hunger. His head ached from stress. He called again, louder, Sandra, where's the food? Sandra slowly walked down the stairs, stretching like a lazy cat. Oh, food. I didn't cook. Michael frowned. Why? You said you can manage everything? Sandra yawned. I slept off. Michael stared at her, disappointed beyond words. Sandra, I worked all day. I'm starving. And? She asked with attitude. Why are you shouting? Go and buy food outside. Michael's chest rose sharply. He was speechless, hurt, confused, angry, embarrassed. He felt like crying. He whispered, My father warned me. I should have listened. Sandra hissed loudly, Oh, please, who is your father? That old man who was spying on me. He should go to one corner. He interferes too much. Michael frowned. What did you just say? Sandra rolled her eyes. I said your father should go to one corner. He thinks he is smart. disguising himself to spy on me like some madman, very foolish old. Before she could finish, Michael's voice exploded with anger. Sandra, don't you ever talk about my father like that, ever, Sandra hissed. Michael continued, my father is a great man, a responsible man, a man who built everything we have. Don't you dare insult him. Sandra scoffed, your father is not better than anyone. Michael cut her off with a sharp shout, enough. My father told me who you were, but I was blinded by love. I defended you. I fought him because of you. I disrespected him because of you. I should have listened to him. He saw what I refused to see. Sandra, your father is a poor man. Your mother is a miserable woman struggling to survive. My father never insulted them, never. But you insulted my own father without shame. Sandra blinked, shocked he brought up her parents. Michael continued, don't you dare talk about my father like that. Do you hear me? Don't you ever open your mouth to insult him again. I made a big mistake marrying you. I should have listened to my father, Sandra gasped. What? Michael didn't look at her again. He simply walked past her into their bedroom. Sandra stood in the living room, suddenly afraid. For the first time since the wedding, Michael finally saw her true colors. Michael stayed in the room for a long time. His heart felt heavy, his stomach empty, and his mind troubled. Everything his father warned him about was happening right before his eyes. The woman he thought was humble, respectful, and loving was slowly showing him her true face. Finally, he picked up his phone. He hesitated. Then he dialed his father's number. Philip answered on the first ring. My son. Are you all right? Michael's voice cracked. Dad. Philip immediately knew something was wrong. Talk to me, son. Michael swallowed hard. Dad, everything you said about Sandra, it's true, all of it. I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. Philip was not surprised. My son, it's fine. I knew this day would come. I forgave you long ago. Michael sighed. Dad, I disrespected you. I shouted at you. I even took sides with her, and now look at me. She fired all the staff. There is no food in the house. She insulted you, Dad. Philip chuckled softly. Insults don't reduce me, my son. They only expose her heart. Don't worry. Michael sniffed. Dad, I'm hungry. There is nothing to eat. Philip smiled gently through the phone. Then go and look for food. Hunger doesn't wait. But where should I go? Michael asked weakly. It's late, and I'm tired. Philip leaned back in his chair and said calmly, You know that small local food stand down the road? The one beside the old pharmacy? Michael replied, Yes, Dad, I've passed there a few times. Go there, Philip said. I have eaten there before. The food is good. The seasoning tastes like home. And the girl who sells there, she is polite, beautiful, and very responsible. A rare kind of woman. Michael paused. You know her? Philip smiled. Yes, I met her once. Pure heart, respectful, the kind of person who treats strangers with kindness. Not like your wife. Michael sighed deeply. Dad, I regret everything. I'm sorry for bringing this shame on myself. Philip's voice softened. My son, every man makes mistakes. What matters is that you learn from them. Now stand up and go and get something to eat. Michael nodded slowly. Okay, Dad, thank you. And one more thing, Philip added with warmth, don't beat yourself, pain teaches. Experience corrects, and I am always here for you. Thank you, Dad, Michael whispered. I love you. I love you too, son. They ended the call. Michael stood up and quietly left the house. Michael drove slowly toward the small local food stand his father mentioned. The night was quiet and the streetlights glowed softly. His mind was full of regret, confusion, and hunger. He could not believe his marriage had started collapsing so quickly. The mansion felt like a prison, and Sandra felt like a stranger. When he arrived at the small food stand, he parked the car and stepped out quietly. The place was simple but warm. Wooden benches, bright lantern lights, and the smell of fresh food filling the air. A few customers were eating and laughing happily. Behind the counter was a young woman wearing a clean apron, her hair tied neatly, her smile bright and sincere. She looked humble, calm and gentle, nothing like Sandra's proud and arrogant presence. Michael approached slowly. The girl turned to him with a polite smile. "Good evening, sir. You're welcome. What would you like to eat?" Her voice was sweet and respectful. It immediately softened something inside him. Michael swallowed. "Good evening. Please, what do you have?" She smiled warmly. "Everything is fresh. We have jollof rice, fried rice, beans, plantain, pepper chicken, and white soup." Michael smiled. "Okay, please give me jollof rice and chicken." "All right, sir," she said softly. She served the food with care, placed it neatly on a clean tray, and brought it to him with a gentle smile. "Here you go." Michael thanked her and began eating slowly. The first bite made him blink. The seasoning was perfect. The rice was soft. The chicken was juicy. It tasted like real homemade food, the kind that brought comfort. He finished everything, and when she came to clear the plate, he looked up at her and said, "This food is very good." Honestly. She blushed slightly. "Thank you, sir. I'm happy you like it." Michael hesitated, then asked politely, "If you don't mind me asking, how much do you make in this restaurant every month?" She thought for a moment and answered honestly, "Sometimes 200,000 naira a month, sometimes less. It depends on customers. I actually run this restaurant with my mother. But today she wasn't feeling too strong, so I came alone." Michael looked around at the quiet street and frowned. "But it's not really safe for you. You're a woman, working alone at night. Anything can happen." She sighed quietly. "I know. That's why I want to stop this job. Last month, some street boys tried to harass me when I was closing. If not for a nice security guard that passed by, I don't know what would have happened." Michael's eyes softened with concern. "I'm really sorry about that. You shouldn't go through that." She smiled sadly. "It's life. We have to survive." Michael paused, thinking his heart felt moved by her story. After a moment, he said slowly, "What if you come and work for me?" She blinked, confused. "Work for you? How?" Michael leaned forward. "I will pay you double what you make here in a month. And I will give you free accommodation for you and your mother. You both can stay in my boys' quarters. It's already furnished. You won't need to bring anything, just your clothes." Her eyes widened in shock. Are you serious?" "Very serious," Michael said softly. "It's safer for you, and I need someone who can cook and manage things properly. Someone responsible." She was overwhelmed. "Sir, this is like a dream. I've wanted to stop this job for so long. Every night I fear going home alone. Sometimes boys follow me, sometimes they insult me. You have no idea how happy I am hearing this." Michael smiled kindly. "Then start tomorrow. Come with your mother. The place is ready." She was so excited. "God bless you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much." Michael smiled again. Her joy warmed his heart in a way Sandra never could. She wasn't pretending. She was genuinely happy. Then she said quickly, "I'm sorry, sir. I forgot to tell you my name. It's Beauty." Michael laughed softly. "Beauty? That's a beautiful name." She giggled shyly. "Thank you, sir. And what's your name?" He smiled, stretched his hand towards her. "My name is Michael." She smiled and shook his hand gently. "Nice to meet you, Michael." "Nice to meet you too, Beauty," he replied warmly. For the first time since his marriage, Michael felt peace. Michael came home, and before he could even close the door, Sandra rushed to him angrily. "Where did you go without telling me?" she shouted. Michael dropped his keys and said, Since there was no food in the house, I went to buy food outside and eat. Sandra opened her mouth wide. You should have at least brought something for me to eat. Michael looked at her with disbelief. You must be stupid. If you wanted food, then go to the kitchen and cook. Sandra gasped loudly. Michael, I was too tired. Michael laughed bitterly. Tired from what? Sleeping all day? Pressing your phone? Doing nothing? Sandra felt offended, but Michael didn't stop. Let me tell you something. I have employed someone. She is starting work tomorrow, and she will be living in the boys' quarters. Sandra's eyes almost fell out. How dare you make such a decision without telling me? Who is she? Why should another woman come and stay in my husband's house? Michael stepped closer and said sharply, You are the one that is stupid. Did you inform me before you sacked all the workers? Sandra opened her mouth but had no answer. Then she shouted again, She can never stay in my husband's house, never in my life. Michael looked her straight in the eyes and said, Not only will she stay, her mother will also live there. And let me make something clear. This is my house, I decide who stays here. Not you. Sandra began shaking with anger. Over my dead body will a strange woman and her mother stay in this house? Michael shook his head. You didn't ask me before humiliating and dismissing loyal staff, so don't expect me to ask you before fixing the problem you caused. You cannot control me. You cannot control this house. If you don't like it, you are free to leave. But Beauty and her mother are starting work tomorrow morning, and nothing you say will change that. Sandra stood there breathing heavily, shocked and speechless, as Michael walked past her and went upstairs without looking back, leaving her boiling with anger, fear, and confusion. The next day, Sandra woke up at 1 p.m., as she always did. She stretched lazily and slowly walked downstairs with irritation on her face. She wasn't expecting what she saw. The moment she entered the kitchen, she stopped suddenly. Someone was cooking. A young woman stood at the stove, stirring a pot of fresh stew. The smell of chicken, spices, and tomatoes filled the whole kitchen. Sandra screamed, Who the hell are you in my house? Beauty turned calmly and greeted politely. Good afternoon, Ma. My name is Beauty. I'm the new cook. Sandra frowned. Whatever. I don't care who you are. What are you doing in my kitchen, you poor dirty thing? Get out of here now. Beauty didn't move. Her voice remained calm and respectful. With all due respect, Ma, my boss told me I should never leave, except he says so. I cannot disobey him. Sandra's face turned red with anger. Your boss? You mean my husband? How dare he? Without another word, she stormed out of the kitchen, entered the living room, grabbed her phone and called Michael immediately. The moment he answered, she started shouting, Michael! Who is that girl in my kitchen? How dare you bring someone to embarrass me? She must leave now. Michael's voice was firm and cold. Sandra, listen carefully. If you try anything stupid, you will leave this house today. Beauty is working here. Accept it or pack your things. Sandra froze. Michael, you're choosing that thing over me. Michael didn't argue. Sandra, don't test me this morning. I'm warning you. He hung up. Sandra trembled with anger. Her pride was crushed. She couldn't believe Michael shouted at her because of a girl who cooked jollof rice on the street. She clenched her fists and marched back to the kitchen. Beauty was still cooking peacefully. Sandra pointed her finger at her angrily. Listen to me, you poor miserable thing. I will make this house a living hell for you and your useless mother. Beauty remained quiet. Sandra stepped closer, sneering. You ugly village girl, I know your mission. You want to reap where you did not sow. You want my handsome husband, right? You think because you can cook, you can steal him from me. Beauty shook her head softly. No, Ma, I'm only here to work. Shut up, Sandra shouted. I know girls like you, pretending to be innocent while chasing married men. You will never succeed in this house. I will make sure Michael sacks you. I will make sure you suffer, you devil. Tears gathered in Beauty's eyes, but she stayed calm. Ma, I'm only here to do my job. Nothing more. Sandra laughed wickedly. We'll see about that. You and your poor, miserable mother will regret stepping foot into this place. Beauty turned back to her pot quietly, but her heart was shaking. She had never met a woman so full of hatred and jealousy. Sandra continued insulting her until she got tired, then stormed out of the kitchen. Beauty breathed softly. God, give me strength. A week later, Sandra became more desperate than ever. Every morning and every night, she kept pressuring Michael. Michael, when are we going to do our court wedding? It has been more than a month since our traditional wedding. We need to make it official. We need to go to the registry. Michael rubbed his forehead in frustration. Sandra, calm down. I told you to wait. I'm still thinking about some things. Sandra shouted, thinking about what? We are already traditionally married. Why are you dragging your feet? Michael looked at her with tired eyes. Sandra, you still have a lot to learn. You're not even behaving like a wife yet. What does that mean? She screamed. It means, Michael said firmly, you still have a long way to go. You better go and meet Beauty to teach you how to cook. Sandra's eyes burned red with anger. You want your local poor cook to teach me? Michael, are you normal? Michael sighed. I said what I said. Sandra stormed out of the room angrily. She was getting scared. Scared that Michael was slipping away, scared that he might change his mind about marrying her legally. But she continued pushing and manipulating him every day, pretending to love him deeply while planning something darker. 2 days later, James rushed into Philip's home office, looking worried. Sir, we found more things about Sandra. Philip looked up sharply. More? What else is there? James handed him a folder. Sir, you won't believe this. Sandra is not only a liar. She was already married before meeting your son. Philip frowned. Married? Yes, sir, James continued quietly. And she has one child with the man. Philip felt his heart stop. What are you saying? James took a deep breath. Sir, the worst part is this. She and that man are working together to dupe wealthy men. They target rich men. Sandra pretends to be single. She gets close, pushes for court marriage, and once it is legal, they demand money, property, and everything they can get. Philip was so shocked beyond words. James continued, Their plan this time is your son. We have evidence, sir. Messages, photos, even witnesses. Philip covered his face with both hands. My God, my poor son. That girl is wicked. Very wicked. Yes, sir, James nodded. That's why she's been pressuring him aggressively to get married in court. Once the court marriage happens, she and her real husband will drain Michael dry. Philip stood up angrily. I must tell my son. He must never go ahead with the court marriage, never. James nodded firmly. Sir, we have to act fast. Call him now. Warn him. Show him everything. He must not listen to her at all. Philip grabbed his phone. I will call him immediately. This can't wait another second. His voice shook with both anger and fear. She wanted to rip off my son's hard-earned money, Philip whispered painfully, over my dead body. I will not allow it. He dialed Michael's number with his heart pounding. Everything was about to explode. After 3 rings, Michael answered, Dad, is everything okay? Philip didn't waste time. Michael, come to the house now, immediately. It is urgent. Michael paused. Dad, what's wrong? Just come, Philip insisted. Your life depends on it. Michael felt his chest tighten. His father never spoke like that unless something was very serious. Okay, Dad, I'm coming. He hung up, grabbed his car keys and rushed out. He didn't even tell Sandra where he was going. Michael arrived at his father's house. He saw Philip in the study with a thick file on the table. His father's face was hard, serious and angry. Dad, what happened? Sit down, Michael, Philip said quietly. Michael sat. Philip pushed the file toward him. Everything inside this folder is about Sandra. Michael frowned and slowly opened it. The first thing he saw was wedding pictures. His heart dropped. "Dad, what is this?" Philip spoke clearly. "Sandra is already married." Michael felt the blood rush from his body. No, that's not possible. "She told me—" "She lied," Philip said. "She is married to a man named Daniel, and she has a child with him, a 5-year-old boy." Michael's entire world shook. "Dad, she has a child?" "Yes," Philip replied, "and her husband is involved in her plan. Together they target wealthy men, pretend she is single, rush for court wedding, then take everything: money, property, life savings." Michael felt like vomiting. "No, this can't be true. Sandra can't do this to me." Philip sighed. "My son, listen to me. I didn't want to break your heart, but you needed to know the truth. Sandra is dangerous. She is using you." Michael's hands trembled as he turned each page. There were photos of Sandra with another man, pictures of her holding a child, voice notes, screenshots of conversations. Tears filled Michael's eyes. Why would she do this to me? I loved her. I gave her everything." Philip sighed deeply. "That is exactly why, Michael. You are a good man, and wicked people take advantage of good hearts." Michael stood up. "I need to go home. I need to confront her." Philip stood too. "I am coming with you." "No, Dad," Michael said quietly. "Let me handle this. She lied to me. She fooled me. She disrespected you. She ruined everything. I must end this myself." Philip nodded slowly, though he was scared. "If she tries anything, call me." Michael left the house with fire in his chest and betrayal in his soul. Few minutes later, Michael returned home. Sandra was sitting on the couch. She didn't even look up when he entered. "Oh, you're back. Did you get food for me to eat?" "Because I don't want to eat the food made by that poor dirty girl." Michael didn't answer. He stood in front of her, breathing hard. Sandra finally looked up. "Why are you staring at me like that?" "Who is Daniel?" Michael asked quietly. Sandra's heart almost stopped. "What?" Michael stepped closer. "Who is Daniel?" I don't know any Daniel," she lied immediately. "You must be crazy." Michael threw the marriage certificate at her feet. She gasped loudly. "You are a liar," Michael shouted. "You are a married woman. You have a child. How could you deceive me? You devil." Sandra's legs shook. "Michael, I can explain." "Explain what?" Michael shouted. "Explain how you tricked me into marrying you traditionally. Explain how you planned to force a court wedding so you and your real husband could steal my money. You wanted to finish me." Sandra's voice started shaking. Please listen." "I listened to you for months," Michael yelled, "and you fed me lies every day. You used me. You insulted my father. You tormented the staff. You bullied Beauty. You are a wicked woman." Sandra dropped to her knees. "Michael, please forgive me. I did it because I needed money. My husband forced me." Michael raised his hand. "Don't mention forgiveness. Not today. Not ever." He pointed at the door. "Leave my house. You and your evil plans. Get out now." Sandra burst into tears. "Michael, please. You are my husband." Michael pulled his leg away. "I am not your husband. You are another man's wife. A thief. A liar. Leave before I call security." Sandra sobbed loudly, shaking her head, but Michael didn't care anymore. He pointed at the door again. "Out." Sandra went upstairs, picked up her bags with trembling hands, and slowly walked toward the door, crying uncontrollably. As the door closed behind her, Michael collapsed on the couch and cried like a broken man. Sandra rushed home in tears, but the moment she entered the small, dirty living room she shared with her real husband, Daniel, her sadness immediately turned into anger. She screamed, "Daniel, you are useless. You have destroyed my life." Daniel came out from the bedroom. His face was cold and hardened. "What is wrong with you now? Why are you shouting like a mad woman?" Sandra pointed at him angrily. You are the problem. Everything is your fault. Do you know Michael found out everything? He chased me out of the house. Daniel frowned. Is that why you're behaving like a goat? So what if he found out? Sandra stomped her foot. I don't care about the plan anymore. I love Michael. Do you hear me? I love him. I'm not going to stay with a poor man like you again. Daniel's eyes widened slowly. What did you just say? Sandra shouted louder. I said I'm no longer with you. I'm leaving. I have tasted wealth. I have lived in a mansion. I have worn expensive clothes. I have eaten good food. I can't come back to this poverty life with you. You are poor. You are lazy. I am done. Daniel took one slow step toward her. His voice dropped dangerously low. You dare not, he whispered. Sandra frowned. You can't stop me. I'm leaving. Daniel laughed slowly, a wicked laugh. Sandra, do you know who I am? She swallowed hard. I don't care. Daniel leaned closer until his face was inches from hers. I am Shadow. Sandra froze. That name made her heart drop. Everyone on the street knew who Shadow was. A dangerous man involved in crimes, a man nobody crossed twice. Daniel continued, I will follow you everywhere. I will drag you back. If you think you can run to that rich boy, you are very stupid. You want to leave me because of small wealth you tasted? Sandra stuttered. Daniel, please. Daniel grabbed her arm tightly. Be warned, Sandra. You poor little girl from foolish parents. Don't ever forget where I picked you from. You were nothing. You are still nothing. If you try to leave me, I will show you why they call me Shadow. Sandra's knees trembled. Daniel, stop. You're hurting me. He pushed her away. Good, let it hurt, because if you ever say you love Michael again, I will break every bone in your body. Sandra fell to the ground, shaking with fear. Daniel pointed at her and shouted, Get up. We are not done with Michael. We will finish what we started. You will go back there one day. You will marry him legally, and we will take everything from him. Sandra cried softly. He will never take me back. Daniel smirked. Leave that to me. I am Shadow. I always get what I want. Sandra hugged her knees and cried loudly, realizing she was trapped between two worlds, a world of greed and a world of danger. Life began to change for Michael the moment Sandra left his home. Peace returned slowly, and Beauty and her mother brought warmth into the mansion. Beauty cooked with love, cleaned with joy, and treated Michael with genuine respect. Her mother prayed for the house every morning and thanked Michael every night for giving them a chance. Michael found himself smiling again. He found himself eating well, sleeping better, and feeling lighter each day. Beauty never forced conversations, never insulted anyone, never acted proud. She was gentle, humble, and real. Day by day, Michael's heart healed. Week by week, he began to admire her. Month by month, he fell deeply in love. Beauty tried to resist at first, but Michael's kindness, patience, and sincerity melted her heart too. She saw the good man behind the pain. She saw the husband he could be. 4 months later, Michael knelt in the garden with a ring in his hand and asked softly, Beauty, will you marry me? Beauty eyes full of tears. Yes, yes, I will. Philip was overjoyed. The wedding was simple, beautiful, peaceful, and full of genuine love. Something Michael had never experienced with Sandra. Michael and Beauty became husband and wife. They laughed together. They prayed together. They lived in harmony. Meanwhile, Sandra and Daniel, Shadow, heard that Michael had married Beauty. Sandra screamed, Michael left me and married that poor girl. How dare he? Daniel clenched his fist. He embarrassed you, and he refused to fall for our plans. Sandra shouted, We must do something. We must finish him and that girl. Daniel nodded with evil in his eyes. Tonight, we go to Michael's house. We will handle him. Sandra agreed, her heart full of jealousy, anger, and bitterness. They both entered Daniel's old car and drove toward Michael's mansion with wicked intentions and a dark plan. On their way, something unexpected happened. Their car lost control on the sharp bend. It swerved off the road. Everything happened quickly. No one survived the crash. Sandra and Daniel both lost their lives instantly. No one else was harmed. The news spread the next morning. Philip sighed deeply and said quietly, "Evil plans always destroy the planners." Michael held Beauty's hand and whispered, "Thank God we are safe." Beauty prayed for peace, and life continued. And the darkness Sandra brought ended forever.